Hello friends, let us see some MCQs based on literary criticism and theory. So see first question. Plato is the disciple of, answer is Socrates. Which of the following pre-Socrates philosopher influenced Plato? That is Heraclitus. Heraclitus. Which philosopher said that everything in the universe is in a state of flux? The answer is Heraclitus. Who propounded the direct dialectical method of pursuing truth? Answer is Socrates. In which form did Plato present his philosophy? Plato present his philosophy in dialogue. Which among the following is not a dialogue by Plato? That is poetics. Plato expounded his theory of form in Fede and Republic. According to Plato, reality exists in the realm of pure form. Who is a rhapsode? Rhapsode is medium through which God speaks, which according to Plato is a diverse from reason. Answer is poetry. In which book does Plato banish the poets? Very important books written by Plato, that is a Republic. In Republic, he banished the poets. Who advocates an open and strict censorship of poetry? That is Plato. To which Plato is known as enemy of poetry. Remember these things. According to Plato, reality exists in three levels. To which discipline does Plato associate poetry? In democracy? According to Plato, poetry is imitation of an imitation. Plato influence is mostly evident in romantic poets. Who argued against Plato's theory of forms for first time? That is Aristotle. Which is the school established by Plato? Academy is the school established by Plato. Who is regarded as the most brilliant student of Plato? Answer is Aristotle. Who is the tutor of Aristotle? Who is the tutor of Alexander? Democritus is the tutor of Alexander. Which is the school founded by Aristotle? The Lycums is founded by Aristotle. What is the central concept of Aristotle's metaphysics and logic? That is substance. In which work does Aristotle make the distinction between primary and secondary substance? He makes distinction between primary and secondary substance in categories. Which of the following is an example of primary substance? Particular horse is the correct answer. Which of the following is an example of secondary substance? Animal is the example of secondary substance. According to Aristotle, what is the source of knowledge? According to Aristotle, sense is the source of knowledge. According to Aristotle, reality exists in the external world. What is the term that Aristotle used for logic? Analytics is the term that Aristotle used for the logic. Aristotle's work on logic are collectively known as organon. What is the basis of Aristotelian logic, that is syllogisms, which is Aristotle's theoretical treatise on the nature and the function of poetry, that is poetics. Poetics is very important work by Aristotle, remember it. The two notions which form the core of Aristotle's poetics, dash and that is imitation and action. What does art imitate according to what does the art imitate according to Aristotle, that is human action. According to Aristotle, tragedy represents men better than norms. Which are the two ways to represent action according to Aristotle, that is narration and dramatic representation? According to Aristotle, history narrates events that have actually happened. According to Aristotle, poetry is more philosophical than history. According to Aristotle, poetry gives general truth. Where does Aristotle define tragedy? Very famous book by Aristotle, that is Poetics, and he defined his philosophy about drama, about tragedy in his famous book Poetics. What is the effect of tragedy on audience? The effect of tragedy on the audience, the answer is catharsis. According to Aristotle, dash is the soul of tragedy. According to Aristotle, plot is the soul of tragedy, and this question is asked in Maharashtra state exam. Which play is the example of complex plot according to Aristotle? The play Oedipus Rex. Which is the term that Aristotle uses for the sudden reversal of action, that is periphetia? Which is the term that that Aristotle uses for the recognition of truth, that is anagrosis? Anag- Anagnorosis. The term hamartia is taken from archery. The meaning of the term hamartia is to miss the mark. Which school of critics rekindled an interest in Aristotle in 20th, 12th century, that is Chicago School? Who is the author of On the Sublime? Sublime is written by Longinus. What is the term that Longinus used to donate excellence in language that leads to ecstasy, that is sublimity? What is paratheresis? Paratheresis is false sentiment. Who called Longinus a romantic critic? By Scott James is the answer. Which of the following is an example of sublimity according to Longinus? The Odyssey is the example of sublimity according to Longinus. Who is known as the father of English criticism? Father of English criticism is Dryden. Who called John Dryden the father of English criticism? Dr. Johnson called him the father of English criticism. Who is the author of an essay and dramatic poesy? The author of an essay on dramatic poesy is Dryden. Maximum time frame allowed to maximum time frame allowed according to the unity of time, that is 24 hours. Which is the second unity according to Dryden? Second unity according to Dryden, the correct answer is unity of place. According to unity of place, ideally, according to unity of place means all the scenes should be enacted upon the same place, that is called unity of place. And which is the third unity according to Dryden, that is the unity of action. The romantic movement was initiated by publication of romantic movement was initiated by the publication of lyrical ballads, and lyrical ballads was written by two great poets. One is Coleridge, st Coleridge, and second is William Wordsworth. Lyrical ballads was published in the answer is 1798. The preface to the lyrical ballads was added in 18th century. For his poem in the lyrical ballads, Wordsworth chose incidents and situations from common life. Who is the author of the rhyme of the ancient mariner? The rhyme of the ancient mariners author is st Coleridge. Who is the author of Lucy poem? Very famous poem, and it is written by William Wordsworth. Who defined the poetry as the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings? The very famous definition of poetry by William Wordsworth. Which of the following poem is not included in the lyrical ballads? That is Dejection and Ode. Which is the author of the essay on uh, which is the author of the essay The Study of Poetry? That is Matthew Arnold. Who among the following is not a Victorian poet? Remember this: Robert Burns, Tennyson's Browning, and Matthew Arnold are the poets in Victorian poets. These three are known as Victorian poets. Who defined poetry as a criticism of life? It is defined by Matthew Arnold. According to Arnold, poetry is substitute for religion. Who called poetry the breath and finer spirit of all knowledge? That is called by William Wordsworth. Which are the two estimates that supersede the real estimate of poetry according to Arnold? His answer is historic estimate and personal estimate. Who wrote Dover Beach? Dover Beach, very famous and written by Matthew Arnold. Who wrote The Westland? Very famous poem, and it is written by T.S. Eliot. Who coined the critical term objective correlative? The very famous term, and it is uh, coined by T.S. Eliot. Remember, objective correlative, the term coined by T.S. Eliot. Who coined the term disassociation of sensibility? It is also coined by T.S. Eliot. Who revived an interest in the metaphysical poets through an edited action of their poems in the 20th century, that is Grayson. The theory of impersonality in poetry was propounded by T.S. Eliot. Who among the following is not a metaphysical poet? That is Thomas Gray, John Donne, Cleveland, and Cowley are the poets known as metaphysical poets. Who said that in the poem of metaphysical poets, the most heterogeneous ideas are woved by violence together, and it is said by Dr. Johnson. Although to Dash was an experience, it modified his sensibility. Although to John Donne was an experience, it modified his sensibility. Who, according to Eliot, are the poets who think but do not feel their thoughts as immediately as the order of rose and by Tennyson and Browning. Which poet, according to Eliot, aggravated the dissociation of sensibility? Milton and Dryden. Who wrote the essay The Tradition and Individual Talent? This famous essay is written by T.S. Eliot, who argued that all mental systems are produce of real social and economic existence. It is argued by Marx, who made the base and superstructures, the model of so, psycho economic relation, socio-economic relation, that is Marx. Socialist realism rejected art, modernist art. Which Marxist critics employed the term reflection? Lunac. Answer is Lunac. Who rejected naturalism and advocated realism as a truer reflection of reality? That is Lunac. Who advocated alienation effects, rejecting the traditional of Aristotelian theatre? That is Brath. Who among the following is not a member of the Frank, Frankfurt School? That is Lunac. Who among the following argued that culture is a whole way of life? Raymond William argued that culture is a whole way of life. Cultural materialism is associated with Raymond Williams. Who is the author of postmodernism or cultural logic of late capitalism? That is Frederick Jameson. Freud's theory depend upon the notion of unconsciousness. Correct answer is unconsciousness. According to Freud, the process by which unsolved conflict, desire, and past events are repression. What is the Freudian term for the process by which the repressed material is formed into something grander or disguised as something noble? And that is sublimation. Sublimation. The Freudian psychology ego roughly corresponds to the consciousness. The Freudian psychology superego roughly correspondent to the consciousness. Conscious. Conscious. In Freudian psychology, id roughly correspondent to the unconscious. According to Freud, the male infant's unconscious desire to eliminate the father and become the sexual partner of mother is known as Oedipus complex. What is the Freudian term for the energy drives associated with sexual desire? That is, answer is libido. The Freudian term for life instinct is eros. What is the Freudian term for the phenomenon by which the patient under analysis redirects emotions, antagonism, or resentment for the paternal figure to the psychologist? That is transference. What does Freud call the process by which one attributes negative aspect of her personality to another? That is projection. Which of the following is not a Freudian defense mechanism? That is sublimation. Freudian dream work involve dash and dash. Freudian dream works involve displacement and condensation. What, according to Freud, is the safety valve through which repressed desire, fears, or memories find an outlet in the conscious mind? That is dream. Freudian psychologists, Freudian psychoanalytic critics associate the covert content of literary work with the unconscious. Freudian psychoanalytic critics pay close attention to the unconscious motives and the feeling of authors and characters. Who among the following posited that unconscious is structured like a language? That is Lacan. Who said, I think, therefore I am? The very famous said by Heraclitus. Who made the statements, I am where I think not? The statement is written by Lacan. Which of the following short stories by Edgar Allan Poe did Lacanians? The answer is the Purulent Letter. Who among the following is regarded as one of the founding figures of structuralism? That is Saussure. Who distinguished between Lang and parole? That is Saussure. The descriptive and literal level of meaning shared by member of a culture is denotation. Who remarked that myth is second order semological system? That is Ronald Barthes. Sign without a signal, denotative meaning, and carrying many potential meaning are said to be polynymous. The concept of the multi accentuality of the sign is propounded by Holocene, who argued that all understanding is dialogic in character, that is, Ronald Bath, who critiqued logocentrism, and Jacques Derrida critiques logocentrism. Different is the concept associated with the difference is the concept associated with Jacques Derrida. Who among the following is a post-structuralist thinker? Post-structuralist thinker is Foucault, who elaborate on discursive practice. Foucault. Dash is the metaphor for disciplinary practice. That is, answer is phenoption. Phenopticon. It might pronunciation might be different. Which of the following is the earliest text of Indian aesthetic? The very famous, that is Natya Shastra. Which of the following is not a term for poetics? All these are the term for poetics, but Nirukta is not the term for poetics. Who identified Alamkara? Alamkara with so Sondarya. Alankara is with Sondarya, that is Vamana. The beginning of Indian poetics is traced back. The beginning of Indian poetics is traced back to Vedas. The the Bharat Muni's, the very famous book Natya Shastra is written by Indian Muni, that is Bharat Muni. Bharat Muni's Natya Shastras is the first and foremost work on dramaturgy. This is based on dramaturgy. Who said rasa is produced by the combination of vibhavas and anubhavas and vibhakarivas? This is said by Bharat Muni. What is the Sanskrit term for realism used in Natya Shastra? That is Lokadharmi is the term. Which is the most significant work of Bhamaha? The most significant work of Bhamaha is Kavya Lam Kavya Lam Kara Kavya Lam Kara Kavya Alankara Kavya Alamkara. Who made the statements? Who made the statement? Sub who made the statement? Shabdarth Sahitya Kavyam, and this statement made by Bahama. Oblique or divergent expressed is called Vikruti. The theoretical concept of Vikruti is evolved by Kuntaka, who is the author of Kavyadarsha, Dandin. Who among the following enumerated the characteristics of Ifik, that is Dandin? Which of the following critics first mention Santarasa? Shantarasa, that is Shantarasa is uh, first mentioned by Ubhata, which is the ninth rasa, that is Shantarasa, who added prayas to the traditional list of nine rasa. This is added by Rudrata, who is the author of Danyaloka, that is Anandavardhana, who is the author of Lokana, that is Abhinav Gupta. What is the meaning of term? What is the meaning of what is the meaning of the term Sahrodaya? Sahrodaya means a competent reader with sensibility, who expounded the doctrine of Dhyani, that is Anandavardhan, who first used the term Sahrodayan in the sense of competent reader, that is Vamana. What is the dominant rasa of Ramayana? That is Karuna rasa is the answer. What is the dominant rasa of the Mahabharata? That is Shanta rasa. What is the dominant rasa of Mahabharata? Sorry. What is the dominant rasa of Mahabharata? That is Shanta rasa. That dash is Abhinav Gupta's commentary on Natya Shastra, that is Abhinav Bharati, who consolidated Rasadhavani as the cornerstone of Indian poetics, that is Abhinav Gupta. The talented the talent that refers to the creative ability of the poet is the talent that refers to the creative ability of the poet is Karyatri Pratibha. Dash is the competence of the reader to respond imaginatively to the poem, that is Bhavyatri Pratibha, who dwelt with the issue of plagiarism in details, that is Rajesh Khar, which Indian critics severely criticized the doctrine of Dhavni, that is Mahi Bhatta. The concept of Abhimana, Abhimana means self consciousness, and Ahamkara, that is ego sense, are explained by Bhoja, Bhoj, who put forward the concept of ascetia, that is decorum. The same answer, Bhoj. What is the cornerstone of Indian poetics? That is Alamkara. Which term in Indian poetics refer to the creative experience of the poet, the aesthetic relish of the reader, and complex emotion states in the poem? The correct answer is rasa. According to the Bharat, drama is dash and dash. That is the correct answer is anunkara and anukirtana. According to the Ras Sutra, Vibhava, Anubhava, and Vibhakaribhava fuse with Sthahi Bhava. How many rasas did Bharat Muni enlist? That is 8 rasa. What is the corresponding Sahitya Bhava of Sriranga Rasa? that is Rati. What is the corresponding Sahitya Bhava of Karuna Rasa, that is Shoka? What is the corresponding Sahitya Bhava of Shantarasa, that is Vairagya? The transitory moods that depend on and reinforce the Sahitin are called Vibhava Karibhava. The characters and situation in play that cause an emergence of rasa are called Vibhava. The sign of emotions visible on the characters known as Anubhava, which term in Indian poetics refers to purely involuntary anubhavas. That is, the correct answer is Sati Vibhava. The term donate experience of the delightful contemplation of the permanent emotion due to the fusion mentioned in the Rasastra, that is Nishpatti. What does the term what does the what does the term alokika means in the context of experience of rasa? The correct answer is non-ordinary. Who analyze the Ramayana and Mahabharata, elucidating elucidating the underlying rasas of these epics, that is Anandavardhana. Anandavardhan. Which term denotes the primary or literary meanings of words, that is abhidha? The term denotes the in indicative meaning of words, that is lakshana. Shobda theories was expounded by Bhartari. The lowest kind of poetry that does not contain any suggested sense is called which term denotes the indicative meaning of words, that is lakshana. And the lowest kind of poetry that does not contain any suggested sense is called chitrakavya. Which French poet of the 19th century believed in the suggestive power of poetry, that is Malagrum? The theory, which theory assumes a universal core to human experience, that is liberal humanism. The term close reading is associated with new criticism. Who initiated practical criticism? I.A. Richards initiated practical criticism. What, according to I.A. Richards, refer to the poet's intention to say something, that is answer is sense. What, according to I.A. Richards, refers to emotion response to the subject matter, that is feeling. What, according to I.A. Richards, refer to the poet's attitude towards the listener, that is tone. What, according to I.A. Richards, refers to the effects being promoted or conjured up in the poem, that is intention. Close reading focuses on the words on the page. Close reading is associated only words on the pages. Who among the following wrote a book named New Criticism? John Gray Ransom. Who coined the term intentional fallacy? This term is coined by two critics, that is W. K. Wimsatt and M. C. Bradley. Who coined the term effective fallacy? The answer is W.K. Wimsatt and M.C. Bradley. Bradley say. Okay. जे उच्चार असून तो you can imagine. Or dash is the error in evaluating a literary work focusing on the intention of the author, that is intentional fallacy. The error in evaluating work focusing on the emotional effects of the text on the reader is called effective fallacy. Which of the following is true of the methodology of new critics? Answer is for them the text has an independent existence. Who among the following dwelt with the five texts of poetry? John Grave Ransom. Who called T.S. Eliot a historical critic? John Grave Ransom. Who is the author of Well Wrought Urn? That is Clint Brook. Heres of paraphrase is a concept pronounced by Clint Brook. What is the critical term for the crude summarizing of the content of a literary work or a listing of its constituent parts? That is heres of paraphrase. The Great Tradition is written by F.R. Lewis and Only Tradition is written by T.S. Eliot. What did F.R. Lewis not include Charles Dickens in the great tradition of English novelists? That is, his novels lack. Why did F.R. Lewis not include Charles Dickens in a great tradition of English novelist? Because his novel lack in moral thought. There is no moral thoughts in Charles Dickens' novel according to Lewis. And last question, defamiliarization is associated with Russian formalism. My friend, it is my first attempt to create a video for helping you in preparing set on net exam and other some exam about English literature. So I hope love literature, whatever mistake I made while pronouncing, so I hope you will understand. And most important is that the answer I shown you. And also one important things I want to tell you that I have attached in description box the same PDF of this documents. So thank you very much. If you like, please subscribe it, share it. Thank you.